Tom, some people know you. You have sort of a reputation of being a perma-bull, but that's not necessarily the case. So just bring us up to speed on what your recent positions have been and how long you've been bullish.
Well, we've been bullish for a couple years. Last year was a disappointment, and I think really December was really the month where the bull case was essentially obliterated. But that waterfall decline and the widening of credit, and I think a policy error by the Fed is setting up 2019 to be probably the best year, the probability of a double-digit year since 2009. So I think we've really got a great setup into this year.
What are you looking at? Because we have a lot of people coming on saying earnings recession, economic slowdown, trade war risks, Brexit uncertainty. Why do you see double-digit gains?
Well, those all represent a wall of worry. I think it's valid, but the market and earnings don't have to move in sync, because last year's a good example. We had great earnings and poor equity performance because the market derated. I think multiples expand this year because, one, high yield had the biggest rally in its history in the first 5 days of this year. High yield posted a decline last year. It has never posted 2 consecutive declines in a row. So that's bullish for PE on equities. I think you had a huge position adjustment because we had a waterfall decline in stocks. Stocks fell almost 20% in 2 months. That hasn't happened since 2009. So it's bullish.
And I guess the Fed pivot is bullish for PEs on equities as well. But the earnings growth downgrades we've seen through the last couple of weeks is not bullish for the multiple people should be getting if growth is single digit this year. So and we're not at 14, 15, we're at 16, 17. So is that not a concern when you also look at the valuations internationally?
Yeah, it depends on the root cause. If this is trade causing a slowdown and also lack of visibility, so we have a big inventory adjustment taking place and destocking, that's not something investors should put a permanent NPV on, right? It's a speed bump. If this is enough to tip us into a global recession, yeah, then stocks have a long way to go down, but I don't think there's a recession.
Within the overall market, where do you want to be? Do you want to be in the cyclically sensitive areas?
Yeah, so the playbook we're thinking about is 2009. Because just like 2008, 2018 saw this huge move into defensive growth and everything else got obliterated. So you want to own value cyclicals. In 2009, they outperformed by 3,300 basis points. Year to date, they're leading, but they're only outperforming by 200. So I think there's a lot of room.
What about financials? Is that a cyclical or is it a value?
Yeah, that's a value cyclical, yeah.
Right, so you like them?
Yeah, I think financials are a high quality way to play this right now.
The big guys or the regionals after what we saw yesterday?
Kind of both, right? I mean, I think the regionals are sort of M&A stories, but the big large cap banks kind of deserve higher PEs. They're well capitalized, they've got better visibility, and they produce pretty decent earnings.
And just on the international picture, clearly valuation's a lot cheaper there, but clearly the macro outlook is getting worse. Do you buy them with these valuations, or do you avoid it because of the macro?
I think value is starting to become more attractive now for managers. Non-US, but EM is a high value weight index. Latin America is a big value market, so I do think EM and parts of Europe are ways people can play value.
It sounds like you don't expect the US economy to slow down very much, because that would be a headwind for stocks, wouldn't it?
I think there's some destocking taking place because of the shutdown, but we also had a 20% decline in stocks. 72% of industries entered a bear market last year. That's the highest since 2009. So, a lot's priced in.
And Bitcoin, what is your latest forecast?
We just published our outlook today for Bitcoin, and we just describe how the 10 things that were headwinds last year, that really became headwinds last year, 7 of them are becoming tailwinds. And one of them is, I think there is more visibility on an ETF approval. We actually got a SEC commissioner talking about that today. And these things are positive for crypto.
How do you put a price target on Bitcoin? Yeah. I mean, you were wrong last year in a big way with that very high price target. So how do you feel confident doing it again this year?
Yes, well, crypto's tough because it's not price to book, right? It's based on network value. So we're declining to establish a price target, but you can think about fair value, which is what's the theoretical value based on the number of wallets and how the wallets are being used. It's a lot higher than where it is right now.
So you're sticking to your bullish guns there.
Yes.